Real estate crisis. This is big, and this is not clickbait. So check out this information on the other side and let me know what you think. Hey, what's up, everybody? Rob Howe here. I have news for you. I have information about why real estate is in crisis, who this will affect exactly, why this is so big, and why it's big for different people and for different reasons on this episode of Howe's Housing News. Right away, I'm going to jump into the 7-day market update for you. This is what I look at on the multiple listing service, and I see what's happening in the last 7 days. I found it to be very important if you want to know the story of what's happening with Las Vegas real estate. Most of what I'm going to talk about is Las Vegas real estate, but there is a national impact to what I'm talking about for sure. So no matter where you're watching from, this is information that you may want to know, or you may find my perspective on it pretty illuminating for what's happening. Okay, so let's dive right in to the 7-day market update, folks. Get my handy dandy computer here, and I'm gonna pop this up for you. You see we got right here, we're gonna start with this stuff at the top, of course. In the last 7 days, new listings back on market and coming soon add up to 976 properties. That's roughly what has been coming on and what you would consider available, viable inventory. Most of it viable, at least. If you haven't watched my other videos about what I think is non-viable inventory and why this is impacting things, you should check that out. So you got nearly 1,000 properties there that are inventory. By the way, let me just tell you, this is part of the crisis, folks. So bear with me on this market update. You got to understand these numbers, and then you'll understand the crisis at hand. What we have next here is price decreases, which we've been seeing a lot of. Everybody knows about those. If you have been paying attention to real estate at all, a lot of people starting high and then chopping it down as they go. So no surprise, we have 531 of those. What is starting to be a different trend, though, folks, this is important. Part of the crisis is the price increases. Every week I've been seeing them go up. We have 106 this week. I think there were 70 last week. Okay, so people are deciding to raise their prices. Why? Well, this is the next point that I'm going to make here. Under contract show, under contract no show. That means when you're under contract show, you can technically show your property. You can't accept another offer and go with that, but you can show it and get backup offers. So it's really not viable inventory. Under contract show, under contract no show, temporarily off the market, expired, withdrawn, and withdrawn conditional. These are all add up to inventory that is not there, okay? That all adds up to 2,108 properties that are just, that's not viable inventory in generally speaking, except for maybe if you want to add in the under contract show, but those are really rarely coming back on market or viable inventory. People don't even really check them out. So that's telling me that we have a lot of properties not available for people, and only half of that coming onto the market, and that is creating an inventory crisis. It is a crisis for some folks. If you are a buyer right now, unfortunately, this is not good for you. Good news for you. It's kind of piling up bad news for you, but it is creating some sturdiness for our Las Vegas market. And if you're a seller, it's definitely helping you if you want to sell your property. And that's why we're seeing those price increases, okay? Because sellers are realizing that, hey, you know what? There's not a lot of properties on the market, so I'm going to go ahead and raise my price. We had 770 sell in the last week. So you can see the trend is maybe a few more coming on market than we're selling, but a lot coming off. So while we have really low buyer activity overall, there's such low inventory that, it's holding up, folks. So it's not great for you as a buyer, but it's great for you as a seller. And it's also great and for the outlook of Las Vegas, Nevada. So this is a crisis for buyers. This is a crisis for our inventory. That's why I say this is not just clickbait. But I'm going to jump to the next thing that is definitely a crisis for real estate, and in particular, all the people that work in real estate. Business Insider, they have an article that I have mentioned many times. This is going to be the case. We have had a glut of real estate agents. A lot of people got into the business when the fruit was nice and low and easy to pick in the last couple of years, if not longer. And those people, if they don't know what they're doing, or if they're not grinders and going to get out there and make it work for them, they are dying on the vine. All of the fruit is at the top of the tree. It's hard to get to. You got to work for it. You got to work with your clients for longer. And look, you don't have, I just told you about the inventory. You don't have a lot of properties that you get to sell. And if you're not already a listing agent like myself that has a reputation and has a solid reputation that you're going to get your home sold, get the best advice, these are not times to be relying on people who don't know what they're doing. So those agents are in trouble. And on down the line in the real estate market, people that are involved, if you didn't put away savings, if you didn't make sure you have a good clientele that is going to keep coming to you, even in the lean times, then you may be suffering, whether you're a home appraiser, home inspector, all the people that are in the trades too. They don't quite have the jobs that they had before. So this is a crisis, and this is exactly what the Fed knew would happen. They were going to affect the real estate business quite a bit, and a lot of people are going to be fleeing from this business. That's what Business Insider says. And finally, I see an article about it. There's probably been others, but this is the one that came up on my radar. That'll be in the description. And of course, all my information's in the description. So if you're looking for somebody who's going to be sticking around through the thick and thin, well, you found that person right here in front of you. 14 years in Las Vegas as a residential realtor, not to mention lifelong Las Vegan. I really care about what happens to you and anything that involves you, and that's going to be your home. Okay, so got to get with the right people right now, folks. Moving on to a little brighter news, less about crisis and more about wealth. One article talks about half of millennials are finally homeowners. That's right, it's taken longer for millennials to become homeowners, but half of them are now statistically speaking, are now homeowners. So you can check out that article from CNBC. This is positive news. On top of that, a study finds that homeowner wealth is 40 times higher than rental wealth, than people who rent. So homeowners their wealth is 40 times higher than people who rent. This is important for you to know, because even in tough times as a buyer, I still would rather purchase a home if my situation is correct. And if you're wondering whether you're in the right situation, we should probably talk, because I am going to tell you whether or not, I think you have the right situation to purchase right now. Not everybody does, and not everybody should consider it. But for those who want to play ball in the homeowner game, I think that you should if you can, and it makes sense, okay? Because you're ultimately put in this category that 40 times more wealth than renters. Why? Because you're not throwing away your money. You're playing part in the equity game. This article goes over more, so check that out. I think that's important for people to know. Last thing I'm going to do, I talked about in my last Robnostication about what the government has decided to do when it comes to punishing people with good credit to help people with bad credit. This is such an awful, horrible idea. I really do feel like the government's out to get the real estate industry right now. And I think they're setting people up that are in the lower range. Look, you want to help people really. The way is not to tease them with this idea that they're going to get help because people with good credit are going to be helping out by paying more fees and stuff to help people with not so good credit be able to purchase a home. That shouldn't be happening right now. You shouldn't be encouraging people who are on the edge to get involved. That's why I just spoke about you should talk to me first before you consider buying a home or actually go through with it, because maybe that's not the position you're in. Right now, you have to be in the right position. That's my feeling. not just a feeling, that's really smart, okay? This is dumb. This is really dumb. I just talked to my friend who worked for 5 years to get his credit to where he needed it to be super stellar. Just thankfully, we got his property going, but he would have been punished had he bought after this comes into effect. It's wild that this came into place so quickly because they really moved this through. It was like, boom, boom, here it is all of a sudden. Where did this come from? Well, the government usually takes a long time. If you know anything about what's, especially right now, I just think they're preoccupied with a million things, and they slam this through. Why? Why are you teasing people with bad credit to get into this market right now? That's actually criminal in my mind, okay? You're gonna take from the people who worked hard to get there, worked very, very hard to get there, and put it into the hands of people who have made some poor choices, or maybe just going through life learning and had credit issues. That's how it happens in life. Look, I didn't always have great credit myself. I destroyed it at one point. A lot of people did. But then I realized what was so important to me, and I made sure, and to this day, I don't fool around with that. That's how you learn, folks, not by giving people this, I guess you're saying it's an opportunity. Hey, look, we all have a heart. We all want people to get to where they're going and even help them get there. But this is not how it's done. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this episode of How's Housing News. We really do have some crises out there, and I'm going to keep bringing the information to you. I think that there are some real crises out there for people in the real estate business. And again, that's why you want to make sure you're not going to be worried that you're working with somebody who needs to pay their car payment, make their mortgage payment, put themselves over leveraged because, boy, the fruit was good for a long time there. You don't want to work with somebody that's in that position. So make sure you find good people when you are ready, because that is going to help you, especially in this time right now. It's not a time to fool around. Please, folks, if you have a second, please subscribe to this channel. There's a whole bunch more where this came from, and I want to hear from you. If you made it this far, please tell me what compelled you to continue listening. Are you bothered by anything I said? Are you absolutely enthralled with anything I said? Do you like what I'm saying? Don't like? Tell me. I want to hear from you. In the meantime, folks, have a great day. And remember, I'm Rob Howe with Elite Realty, and I'm all about houses and you. Have a great day. Rock on.